So the fact that the bondholders have rejected Zambia's request for a debt suspension is something that was widely expected. And the factors that were leading to this were very, very well known. And they were speaking to transparency with our issue with the Chinese debt, because that has been the cardinal issue with us having to be able to lock down an IMF support package. So the bondholders had required us to have been able to have a position as to what we're going to be doing with the IMF. And secondly, it is speaking to where we will find the resources in 6 months' time to be able to make good on those payments. So where we are at the moment is that with the rejection, we have a couple of hours in which the country can make the $42.5 million payment on the coupon payment on the Eurobond. And I think that is the best option that the country must take. Even if we are having to dip into our reserves to do this, we need to do it as a country. But it also give us an additional 1 month for us to be able to go back to the table and discuss this further with our bondholders and see what other strategies we need to be able to look at. And I think that is important. We cannot be trying to get this suspension and fail to make the payment. That will be a bit more disastrous. So the implications of an actual default, if we do not actually pay, is that a couple of things will come into play. The first one is that our credit rating as a country will move into junk status, which will mean that we'll be unable to draw any international credit on the commercial market. This will also jeopardize our position for our 2021 budget, because in our 2021 budget we propose to borrow around $1.4 billion, which then will not be able to be actualized from the external market. That is the first aspect. So we'll get into a junk status. And the second one is that with this junk status, it will put pressure on our exchange rate, because we will most likely start to have an issue of capital flight with anybody who is invested in the country, figuring that they need to be able to take out any resources that they can before we start to have a high inflation and a depreciation of the kwacha. This will bring a depreciation on the kwacha and will increase the general price of goods and services within the country. And then the third aspect is obviously speaking to the fact that if this does happen, the bondholders might call back the loan, the entire debt that we have in the Eurobonds of 3 billion, and this will create additional challenges for the country, which will come with different implications.